Well, look, it's pretty evident that not just in the city of Milwaukee, but in many urban areas throughout the United States, when it comes to K-12 public education, we're underserving kids. We're actually failing our kids. All right, I know in the city of Milwaukee, especially among black males, which disproportionately commit the crime that we see and the violence in the city of Milwaukee. And I talked about how school failure is a risk factor for crime. So if these kids are doing poorly in school, they're more likely to be involved in criminal behavior. Our kids cannot read and write at grade level. All right, the fourth and eighth grade for black students, and that's that achievement gap thing I'll talk about in a minute. Fourth and eighth grade math reading scores, the worst in the nation. The worst in the nation. All right, and that includes areas like Mississippi, Alabama, rural areas. Their kids are doing better than ours. All right, that sickens me because education has always been the traditional vehicle to upward mobility in the United States. It just has been. In order to function in our society, in order to compete for the jobs of the 21st century, you have to be able to read and write at grade level. You have to be able to add a 2-digit number to a 3-digit number and come up with the correct answer. You know, we're not asking these kids in these testing scores, we're not throwing physics equations at them and geometry equations. This is some pretty basic stuff. And so what's happening is they're not being educated, and even those ones that are getting through that system, what the university systems are finding out, UWM talked about this, University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, these kids aren't college ready, and they're having to do remedial math and reading, so they're doing high school work in college, which puts you behind at, at the college level. And so you look at this whole thing, and that's why I say we're not serving our kids. All right, I think it's a civil rights issue, because kids they have a right to a quality education in the United States of America. I mean, that's how we deal with education, which is why we have public education, and taxpayers pay for it, but the parents per se do not have to dish out additional money for public K-12 education. But there's this growing achievement gap where black students are falling further and further and further behind. In Milwaukee, those black students who are coming out of MPS are the ones that are involved in the criminal behavior we see. Those are the ones that are unemployed. Those are the ones that cannot compete for the jobs of the 21st century. The fastest growing job sectors in the United States are in the area of microelectronics, healthcare, and biotech, pharmaceuticals. You have to have a higher level of education to compete for those jobs. Those are the family supporting jobs that we're talking about. I don't think our school system should be preparing kids for a minimum wage job. But in order to do that, we have to prepare them for higher education, post-secondary education, in order to compete, like I said, for those jobs in the 21st century. So look at some of the policies within MPS and other urban centers, K-12 public education. Social promotion, bad policy. Social promotion is passing a person on to the next grade whether or not they can pass the requirements of the previous grade. In other words, if a kid can't read at 5th grade level, why are you passing him on to the 6th grade? He can't even read at 5th grade level. How's he going to read at the 6th grade level? And the same with the math. So things like social promotion, things about this very I call it a Mickey Mouse curriculum. All right, there's certain core subjects that people need education in: math, reading, science, geography, those types of things, in order to compete. And we're not doing that. They're coming up with all these fads, the latest education fad. It's not serving urban kids. I don't know what it's doing in the rest of the state and in the rural areas, because if you look at the rest of the state in the K-12 public education, they're doing great. All right, our schools statewide are some of the top in the nation. But if you look at our urban centers, and that's the largest school system that there is, MPS in the city of Milwaukee, we're failing kids.